Hey, good evening everyone, it's Eric here. I'm just getting my ducks in a row as I get this live stream started, so bear with me for just a second and I will be right with you. Alright, hey everyone, Eric here at 6:45 p.m. and we're doing some live coverage on Facebook and YouTube this evening with a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued a few moments ago for parts of Trumbull and Mahoning counties. This runs until 7:45, so a good hour on this storm. So let's kind of get things reset here and tell you what we're talking about. After a very hot and humid afternoon today, we waited for the radar to start lighting up, and finally it did. And now we have several thunderstorms out there. A few in Mercer County, a few in Trumbull County, and the one that has the warning on it is rolling through eastern parts of Portage County right now. Look at all the lightning and thunder with this baby east of Ravenna and Kent, and making a beeline towards Newton Falls, Lordstown, Warren, and the rest of western Trumbull County. And the Cleveland National Weather Service office hoisted a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45 this evening. Alright, so our severe thunderstorm warning covers the far northern areas of Mahoning County and the southern half, roughly, of Trumbull County. This includes Austintown, it includes Warren and Newton Falls and Lordstown and Braceville and Vienna, and up towards the Cortland area as well, and extends all the way to the Pennsylvania state line. Now in Mahoning County, this does not include Canfield, most of Boardman, and once you're south of 224, you are not in the warning. The primary concern with this, a lot of thunder and lightning, but the warning was issued because of wind in eastern parts of Portage County. Some of these brighter red colors here, east of Ravenna, moving through Charlestown, coming again towards Newton Falls. Some of these brighter reds indicative of radar estimated winds of at least 45, if not 50 plus miles per hour. Now the radar is sampling the storm a few thousand feet above our heads, and so we're not getting ground truth from the radar necessarily on this, but in big thunderstorms, a lot of times that wind momentum that we're sampling a few thousand feet up can be pulled down to the ground. And this storm has had a history of producing some gusty winds out in a lot of Portage County, and all those positive voltage lightning strikes associated with this make this a very, very dangerous storm. These lightning strikes can hit objects on the ground with great proficiency, and positive voltage strikes carry a lot more in the way of voltage than negative voltage strikes, up to 1 billion volts in a lightning strike that has a positive polarity to it. So this is a dangerous storm. It's pushing east at about 30 miles per hour. So with that forward speed, let's do a little storm track for you here. First of all, let me make sure that that's still what we're pegging the forward speed as. 25 to 30, let's say 30. And I'm going to query kind of the heart of this. Again, you're already seeing storms out towards Newton Falls and Braceville. But with the heart of this storm, the part of it that has the warning on it, let's do a storm track on this coming east at about 30 miles per hour. This puts it into Newton Falls here at about the top of the hour, about 7 o'clock or so. Lordstown at about 7:14. The Warren area at 7:18. And just grazing Canfield and areas north of Canfield up closer to Austintown as we go towards, I'll say 7:20 to 7:25 or so, putting it into Youngstown at about 7:30 or so, and impacting areas just across the state line into Mercer County as we edge a little bit closer to 8 p.m. with its current speed. Now again, I'm querying kind of this part of the storm right here. We're already seeing some stuff out here, but the part that has the warning on it is because of the wind and all the lightning that's out across parts of Portage County. All right, so Donnie says it's storming crazy like crazy in Rootstown. Yeah, I believe that. Melissa says in Portage County, crazy lightning, and it's literally raining buckets. There is so much humidity in the atmosphere this afternoon and this evening that these are very efficient rain producers. And so we're seeing a whole lot of rain being squeezed out of these clouds. And this will be the threat again tomorrow afternoon and into parts of Thursday as well. Very efficient rain-producing storms that can lead to some localized flooding problems. So yeah, raining cats and dogs with this in Portage County right now. To the east of the area that has the most intense weather, we do have some thunderstorms around Wethersfield and up towards the airbase in Vienna, coming into Churchill as well. We're also getting thunder and lightning out towards Sharon, and this storm has had a history of producing some small hail in northern parts of Mercer County. Now east of Greenville and getting close to Sandy Creek and Deer Creek, there's been some small hail associated with that. It's heading towards southeastern parts of Crawford County and extreme northeastern Mercer County in the next 15 minutes or so. If you're watching down in Mahoning County, things are pretty quiet in most of the county right now, although the sky is darkening, and we're getting some thunderstorms out towards Craig Beach and into the Lake Milton area. Down in Columbiana County, it's all dry at this point, and a lot of this activity is going to miss you to the north, it looks like, in Columbiana County. At least this stuff right here. Now we'll keep an eye on what's going on out towards Canton and down into Tuscarawas County. That may impact parts of Columbiana a little bit later, but the most intense weather as it stands right now looks to miss Columbiana County and be more of an issue for northern Mahoning and a lot of the southern half of Trumbull and parts of Mercer as well. So again, severe thunderstorm warning out until 7:45 this evening. The storm in Portage County is mostly a wind producer. It was trying to produce a little bit of hail earlier on, but the main concern with this is the wind. Let's again look at the Cleveland radar here with the wind velocity turned on. The red colors are winds that are blowing away from Cleveland, in other words, coming towards us. And the brighter the red colors, the stronger the winds. So coming into Craig Beach right now and about to come into Newton Falls, at least 40, if not 50 mile per hour winds in some of these brighter red colors. Coming across I-76 right now and coming east of Ravenna towards Newton Falls. Anybody in that vicinity is definitely going to want to pay attention to this storm. This is producing some gusty winds and certainly some torrential rainfall right along State Route 5 right now, coming into Newton Falls, coming into Craig Beach, Braceville, and eventually coming into Lordstown and Warren as well. Now once you get south of 224 in Mahoning County, it looks like the most intense weather is going to miss you to the north. We'll do a loop on this velocity data, and you can see all those brighter reds are pointing more towards the Mahoning-Trumbull line and into southern parts of Trumbull, and probably going to miss Ellsworth and probably going to miss the busy 224 corridor between Canfield and Boardman and Poland as you go north towards downtown Youngstown, and certainly up towards, again, Niles and Lordstown and Girard and McDonald and places in southern Trumbull County. This storm is more aimed towards you instead of areas that are closer to Route 224 in the central part of Mahoning County. Let's do a quick check-in on what's going on in Mercer County. I want to, real quickly, even though there's no warning for this, I want to check in on the hail track here with the northern Mercer County storm, I should say, Mercer County. This storm has had a history of producing some hail as it moved through Greenville and is making a beeline across 19 right now and 79. Borderline severe hail with this, probably at least a quarter-inch hail, maybe half-inch hail. The definition of severe hail is 1-inch diameter hail. So maybe we're not seeing 1-inch diameter hail, but around Sandy Creek, not going to be surprised if right now we're experiencing at least some small hail with our northern Mercer County storm. No warning on that, even though this is a pretty strong thunderstorm out across the northern reaches of Mercer County and impacting extreme southern Crawford County along Interstate 79 as well. Seeing some thunderstorm activity, some pretty run-of-the-mill thunderstorm activity, I would say, around Sharon and Wheatland and West Middlesex, heading over towards Vienna and Niles. Seeing some fairly garden variety summertime storm action here with some tropical downpours and some loud thunder but not as much in the way of a wind threat with that kind of precursor activity. The wind threat is going to be more centered in the short term back here, extreme southwestern Trumbull and into parts of Portage County. That's why the National Weather Service hoisted that severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45, because of the wind threat associated with some of these brighter red colors coming into Craig Beach right now and coming momentarily into Newton Falls as well. Zooming out and taking a look at the big picture real quickly here on our live stream. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Started this about 10 or 12 minutes ago, and because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning out for parts of our region, we wanted to hop onto Facebook and YouTube and do some live streaming coverage. The stormiest part of the night will be here in the 7 o'clock hour for most of us. Behind this, there's scattered thunderstorms, but most of this is fairly garden variety once you get out towards Sandusky. Currently, just one severe thunderstorm warning associated with that northwest Ohio stuff. Also some flood warnings out for, and flood advisories out for some of the far northern suburbs of Columbus and kind of between Columbus and Mansfield along I-71, where we had some heavy, heavy rain earlier on today. In our television viewing area, here's the severe thunderstorm warning. It's out until 7:45, so another 50 minutes on this. If you're in the path of this warning, if you're in Newton Falls, if you're in Craig Beach, in Austintown, and Niles, and McDonald, and Girard, and Mineral Ridge, and over towards Warren and Vienna, if you're in this polygon, we want you to take cover from this storm. Make sure you secure loose outdoor items if you can in between the raindrops, because this is packing a punch as far as the wind is concerned. This is not the kind of storm right now in which you need to carport your car with a hail threat. Any hail would be pretty inconsequential, it looks like, with this. So we're not too concerned about large hail with this, but it's definitely a lightning and wind threat with this coming into Trumbull County and extreme northern Mahoning County. The National Weather Service in Pittsburgh says a strong thunderstorm capable of producing small hail and gusty wind impacting northeastern Mercer. So for now, they're not going to warn that northeastern Mercer storm. They did put out a statement saying, hey, this is a strong thunderstorm, but not strong enough to warrant a severe thunderstorm warning for the time being. But we do have our severe thunderstorm warning out for the area here that's enclosed in the polygon. These weird shapes are geometrical shapes called polygons. Starting in 2007, the National Weather Service got away from a county-based warning system. It used to be, before some date in 2007, entire counties were placed under severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings. Starting 14 years ago, just parts of counties usually are put under warnings. They're more in more specific areas. And you can see where that's of value. There's no reason for southern Mahoning County to be under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Same thing in northern Trumbull County. Prior to 2007, Mesopotamia and Kinsman would be under severe thunderstorm warnings right now, even though the threat's going to be to your south. So that's why polygons are definitely a better system than county-based warnings. That being said, if you're a longtime viewer of mine, when it comes to tornado warning sirens, unfortunately, in most counties, they're still based on the county system. And so in some counties, the entire county, you'll hear sirens blasting, even though the tornado warning might only be out for a part of the county because they're still in that county-based system. But for the rest of the weather enterprise, we moved on from that 14 years ago, back in 2007. So again, long story short, that's why you see these kind of weird shaped warnings like this, kind of a rectangle. Sometimes these take on even stranger shapes, but very rarely do you see entire counties placed under severe thunderstorm warnings all at one time. It still happens occasionally when you have a big squall line that's certainly going to impact every part of the county, but that's kind of an exception. In most cases, we're able to target these warnings more specifically than we did prior to 2007. All right, Colleen says extremely windy now near Kirk and Meander in West Austintown. Thank you to Colleen for that. So yeah, definitely getting windy and getting a doozy of a thunderstorm now. If you're watching from the Austintown area and coming up 46 into southern Trumbull County around Mineral Ridge, up into Niles as well. In fact, let me grab our Niles camera. This says Columbiana, but this is Niles. We're looking at Gabe's here near the Eastwood Mall. Not a lot of wind shown on the camera right now along 422 near Eastwood Mall, but it's certainly raining, so that doesn't look terribly ominous right now. I'll grab our camera that we have active right now in Boardman. Bear with me for just a moment. All right, so this is Boardman looking west towards Canfield. Darkening sky in Boardman. Looks like the worst of this severe thunderstorm is just going to miss Boardman, at least the 224 area, the 224 part of Boardman. It's going to miss that mostly to the north. The farther north you head along Market Street outside of Boardman heading towards Youngstown, the better chance you have of seeing a strong or even severe thunderstorm with our storm. That's coming into southern Trumbull and northern Mahoning right now. The warning runs until 7:45 this evening. Probably getting some hail with this. Just over the last scan or two, we're starting to see the possibility that this storm is growing, and maybe we're getting some hail in parts of the Niles area. Now, I just showed you the camera that we have near Eastwood Mall. It didn't look terribly impressive. But the radar is showing some heavier returns here and possibly some hail with the storm between Warren and Niles. Let's do a quick slice of this and show you how tall this storm is. And radar showing here a couple of what we call overshooting tops. These little appendages that shoot out from the very top of the storm, maybe getting up to 50,000 feet or so with this. So that let me do that again. This certainly could be producing some small hail around the Niles area. If you're seeing any hail in southern Trumbull County, be sure and let me know in the comment section, especially if you're watching on Facebook. We're starting to see those white colors extending up from the storm. That means the radar is hitting large objects pretty far up in the storm. Those are probably a mix of big fat tropical raindrops and also some hailstones within that storm around Niles. Joe says over 1,000 without power in Trumbull. Thank you for that, Joe. So yeah, seeing those strong winds perhaps doing their dirty work in Trumbull County. Let's look at the latest wind data off the Cleveland National Weather Service radar. Looks like the worst of the wind right now, the brightest red colors are from Newton Falls coming into Lordstown. And there's a fresh scan right now. So some strong winds now in Lordstown, Craig Beach coming into Austintown. And just about to come into Niles as well. I just showed you the Niles camera a moment ago. Didn't show a lot of wind on that, but that'll probably change in the next handful of minutes. Yeah, starting to see if you look carefully here, starting to see the tree blowing in the breeze a little bit in the parking lot at Gabe's. And look at the rainfall rates picking up in the parking lot. Again, our banner at the top says Columbiana. There's a lot of lightning that just showed up, but this is Niles. I'm actually going to step out of the shot for just a moment and adjust our camera. All right, so this is 422 across from Best Buy near Olive Garden here in Niles near Eastwood Mall. And getting some vivid lightning here and quite a bit of rain. And our radar wants to show some possible hail in the Niles area with this. I'd love to hear some ground truth on that. If you're seeing hail anywhere in southern Trumbull County, be sure and let me know. Here's where our radar has been picking up on the hail, where you see some of this, Mineral Ridge, Niles, maybe just southeast of Warren near Howland. It's going to be possible we're seeing some hail embedded within that storm as the rainfall rates pick up. Carolyn says no hail in Niles. Danielle, same thing. So our radar may be overdoing it a little bit. So with the hail algorithm here, maybe just seeing a lot of big fat raindrops and mistaking it for some hail. This storm is moving at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Not the fastest storm in the world. It's moving, at a decent enough clip that it's not stationary or anything, but sometimes we see storms in the spring and summer that race at 50 miles per hour plus. Not seeing that with this storm. Right now it's forward speed at about 25 or 30. Let's do a radar loop. We'll put a half an hour loop on this. You can see everything's kind of tracking kind of slowly to the east. The farther south you are in our viewing area, the lower your chances of severe weather this evening. So if you're south of 224 and closer to Salem and Columbiana and Hanoverton and Lisbon and East Palestine, East Liverpool, and places such as that, North Lima, your chances of severe weather are pretty low this evening, it looks like, with increasing chances of severe weather associated with our big storms as you go north of 224 especially, and up towards the far northern part of Mahoning County into Trumbull County and parts of Mercer County as well. Let's go back to our Niles camera. Let me change that banner because it bothers me. We're not looking at Columbiana, we're looking at Niles. I'm going to post this on social media. And let's go back to the radar. Alright, just making sure my post got onto Twitter. I see it's not there yet. There we go. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes for our system to process a social media post and actually get it onto social media. Especially our system becomes a little bit busy in severe weather, and sometimes it takes a couple minutes to process a severe weather post and get it online. So right now the worst of the weather is around the Niles area and heading up towards Howland and Vienna as well. Vivid lightning and torrential tropical downpours. Let's look at the rainfall rates here. Now, sometimes these rainfall rates can be a little exaggerated on our radar algorithm when we have a little hail involved, but it'll give you a general sense as to how heavy some of this rain is. Rates of 1 inch plus per hour with some of this activity near Vienna, down towards the Niles area and back towards Newton Falls as well. Some torrential tropical downpours. You know how humid it was today, so there's a lot of juice for the atmosphere to wring out. And again, I mentioned this earlier. This is going to be a threat again tomorrow and on Thursday. Any thunderstorm will be capable of really unleashing a Miami-like downpour because our air mass has been very Miami-like over the last couple of days. Our heat index at the airport today peaked at 98 this afternoon. Downright brutal outside ahead of these storms late this afternoon and early this evening. Let's check in on Mercer County. The threat for hail appears to be diminishing now in Mercer County with that storm that was probably producing some small hail in far northern parts of Mercer County a little while ago. Now we're getting some fairly routine thunderstorms in Fredonia and back towards Sharon, West Middlesex, and Wheatland as well. Right now, again, the worst of the weather, the heaviest of the rain is in a couple spots in Trumbull County. One around Niles, real gully washer, frog strangler, as is sometimes called, especially in the south, and also some vivid lightning and very heavy rain back towards Braceville, Newton Falls, and up towards Leavittsburg as well. Now, we do need some rain. I've heard from a lot of gardeners and farmers over the last few days that, hey, it's getting a little dry. We haven't had a ton of rain in the month of June in most places. Now, we are getting some beneficial rain. The problem is, too much at one time can be just as problematic as a lack of rain sometimes. So some street and highway flooding, some flooding in poor drainage areas could certainly result in areas that are going to see rain for a while this evening. So places such as Niles and such as Warren and Southington and Champion and Lordstown, in areas that typically don't drain well when we have a good summertime thunderstorm. You might have some issues for a little while early this evening as everything kind of slowly meanders to the northeast. So the Weather Service is going to continue our severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45. No reason to cancel it at this point because we still have the threat for severe weather with this storm. I want to take another peek at our Niles camera. It looks like the worst of the weather is right over 422 in Niles right now, right over Eastwood Mall, and points to the north and east. So you're seeing all the flashes here. This is a dangerous storm. This can cause power outages because of wind and lightning. A vivid lightning producer moving through the area with this storm as we speak. Super heavy rain with this. Too much rain at one time, in fact, for a lot of kind of the heart of this storm that's moving through Trumbull. We see these brighter reds, these pinks. While there might be a little tiny hail mixed in with this, it's probably more the radar's picking up on the intense rain. Bolindale, Niles, north and east through Howland, coming into Vienna as well. Really heavy rain with that. Let's check in on the wind data off the Cleveland National Weather Service radar. We're getting pretty far from the Cleveland radar here, but still we can sample some pretty good winds in the brighter reds, Mineral Ridge and Niles and Lordstown as well. I'm going to switch over to the Pittsburgh radar to see what it looks like because we're getting into that zone in our area where we're getting a little bit closer maybe to the Pittsburgh radar than the Cleveland radar. So we always want to look at the best data, the data that's going to be most representative of what's going on, and the closer you are to the radar, the better. The very middle of our viewing area, Warren, Mineral Ridge, Youngstown, we're kind of almost halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh radars in those locations. This is off the Pittsburgh radar, so the colors switch to green because the wind is blowing towards Pittsburgh. The storms are moving in an easterly direction. Brighter greens means stronger winds. Austintown, Lordstown, Niles, we're getting some gusty winds right now. I'm going to switch back to Cleveland. The data is a little less noisy off the Cleveland radar. It's a little easier to see what's going on. So some of these brighter reds, still some gusty winds. Overall, I would say this is a moderate wind threat. Overall, the threat may be mostly, at this point, a rain and lightning threat. Lots and lots of rain and lightning with this. And modest amounts of wind, yes, we want to pay attention to the wind threat. But this is a torrential downpour still ongoing around Niles and coming across 82 and anybody on 11 and 82. This is a busy intersection, of course, busy interchange, I should say. Right in through here, 422, 46, 11, 82, 5, 11, lots of fairly major thoroughfares through here, and we're probably getting some hydroplaning risks as a result of all the water coming down at one time. I want to quickly check in on the radar estimates here as far as the rainfall totals so far. These are going to be a few minutes old, so we'll look for an update from this product here before too much longer, because yeah, this is behind by a handful of minutes because it's not showing nearly enough rain here in Niles. So we'll check back in on this in a little while. Earlier it was showing in Portage County a couple of inches worth of rain east of Ravenna. That may be a little overcooked as a result of some hail for a time over there, but I don't think it's too far off because, again, these are tropical downpours associated with these storms. In addition to that, we have very vivid lightning. This is a doozy of a lightning show now. McDonald and Niles and Vienna and Howland. Let's check back in on our Niles camera here, and still raining like crazy. Traffic's got to be slower than average, certainly here on 422. You're going to see the lightning flashes. We have no audio with this, so we're not going to hear thunder. But you can see there's water on the roadway, certainly. Got to keep those speeds down. And again, flooding in areas of poor drainage, in areas that typically don't drain that well in heavy summertime thunderstorms. You're probably going to have some issues in those typical spots in this part of our viewing area right now. Again, mostly Niles, Howland, Vienna, Mineral Ridge, and points to the north and east. And so areas of poor drainage can have some issues. Street and highway flooding, can be problematic here and there early this evening, I would say, again, in the same areas. Down in Mahoning County, yeah, we're getting some heavy rain, Austintown, some gusty winds. The lightning's not as vivid once you get down towards Austintown and over into downtown Youngstown and back towards Craig Beach. Yeah, we're getting some thunder and lightning, and we're getting some downpours, but the more intense weather is across the county border up into Trumbull County, where we're getting just a vivid lightning show. Look at all those plus signs. Those are positive voltage lightning strikes. All lightning is dangerous, but lightning that carries a positive voltage tends to hit things on the ground more often. Trees, things that are sticking up. Unfortunately, sometimes people. This kind of lightning can hit things on the ground more often than lightning that's carrying a negative voltage. Again, all lightning is dangerous and can hit things, but it tends to happen more often with positive voltage strikes. And positive voltage strikes also carry overall a higher voltage than the negative voltage strikes. So this is a doozy of a summertime storm that's moving through Trumbull County right now. Let me, in my web browser, pull up the latest observations from the Youngstown Warren Airport. In Vienna, right now, they're reporting a half-a-mile visibility. This was at 7:11, so 5 minutes ago. Half-mile visibility with heavy rain, thunder, and a gust to 25. So conditions are deteriorating, certainly, once you get up towards the Vienna area and the Youngstown Warren Airport, where our official weather observations and records for our area are kept. Checking in on Mercer real quick, getting some downpours, certainly some tropical downpours now. Just east of Sharon along 62, around Hermitage, getting some lightning and some thunder and some hard downpours, and maybe some small hail embedded with that. Getting some occasional thunder and lightning and some downpours over towards Sandy Lake and Sandy Creek. And all of that's fairly garden variety, although some hefty downpours are embedded. Really want to spend most of our time focusing on where the weather is worst right now, and that is in Trumbull County, mostly just south of Cortland, just south of Mosquito Lake, and closer to 82, Warren on east, over towards Vienna. We're getting vivid lightning and heavy rain. Thanks to everyone for chiming in with the Facebook comments. They roll by pretty quickly, but I try to call them out. So when I see something good or something interesting, thanks to everyone for watching this evening. We've got several hundred watching us on Facebook this evening, and we've got a lot of people saying this is a doozy of a storm with a real gully washer ongoing in Trumbull County right now. Our warning runs for another half an hour until 7:45 this evening. And just for those maybe just joining us, those who are in the warning include everyone in the southern half of Trumbull County. And in Mahoning County, you're still technically in the warning in Austintown and Youngstown, Coatesville, Craig Beach, but it looks like the severe weather threat is mostly to your north at this point and more into Trumbull County. You're not in the warning in Ellsworth and most of Canfield and most of Boardman. Now, once you head north of 224 in some of the northern reaches of Canfield and Boardman, technically you're in the warning in those locations, but again, the severe weather threat's mostly to your north with our storm. Once you're south of 224, you might get a thunderstorm before the evening is through with this activity back towards Canton and Strasburg and Minerva, but none of that looks severe at this point. Fairly garden variety, routine summertime stuff. We'll see if the Weather Service cuts off our warning polygon or cuts it out of Mahoning at some point with the severe weather threat mostly missing you to the north and heading up into Trumbull. Although we're still getting the occasional bright red colors leaking down into Mahoning County. Looks pretty much sub-severe to me, and I'm not seeing a lot of comments on Facebook. Most of my Facebook comments right now are about the loud thunder, the vivid lightning, and the heavy rain. Victoria says, I've never seen lightning this intense. Tamara says, loud clap of thunder in Sharon. She jumped. I believe it. So again, thanks for the ground truth, everyone. I really appreciate that. We've got lots of great equipment here, lots of great radars and cameras, but it really helps me to hear what exactly is going on with our great viewers and our great social media followers. Still raining like crazy in Niles. This camera is across from Eastwood Mall and across from Best Buy. It's close to Olive Garden. Here on 422, we're looking east on 422, and you can see all the water getting kicked up by the cars as they roll through. And look how slow the traffic is moving. And of course, occasionally you're seeing the very vivid lightning that's occurring. I'm going to check in on the power outage numbers here while we continue to keep the camera up. Power outage not reported to be anything crazy right now. 338 in Mahoning, 338 in Mahoning, and about 300 in Trumbull. This is Mahoning right here. This is Trumbull. So a few hundred without power, but nothing too bad just yet as far as power outages go. But we are getting torrential sheets of rain. With dew points as high as they are, the atmosphere has no trouble unloading a lot of that moisture with thunderstorms. And again, if you're new to the forecast for the next couple of days, we're going to have this thread again tomorrow and into Thursday with any thunderstorm. Even a heavy shower without much thunder and lightning could produce a real torrential downpour until we rid ourselves of this very muggy air mass at the very end of the week. The dew points are going to come down by Thursday night and Friday. We're going to keep the chance of a spotty shower and storm in the forecast for Friday and Saturday, but it won't be as humid at the end of the week and the start of the weekend. And today was our last day of the high heat. We're not going to see the 90s again until perhaps after the 4th of July, early next week. Thankfully, everything, it's not moving fast, but it is moving. The rain is a little less intense now than it was a handful of minutes ago, from mostly west of Niles, I should say. Once you get back towards Warren and Leavittsburg and Braceville, the rain's not as heavy. It definitely is still very heavy, though, from Niles on east and north. Along 46, Niles-Vienna Road, up towards Howland, right along 11, out towards the air base in Vienna. At 7:15 at the airport, they recorded visibility of 3/4 of a mile and winds of 24. So the wind is not crazy up there at this point, but certainly the rain is picking up. Mark on Twitter says this might be the heaviest rain he's seen since 2015. You know, your mileage can vary on that, but certainly so far this year, this is some of the heaviest rain that our area has seen, because it hasn't been too often that we've seen dew points as high as they've been over the last couple of days. And we haven't seen a lot of rain squeezed out of the atmosphere with these high dew points over the last couple of days until this evening. And so, again, efficient rain producers across our area. All right, so there's the rainy scene in Niles. The rain may be a little less intense here on this shot than it was a couple of minutes ago. I want to talk about areas a little farther away from Niles for a moment here, because the weather is deteriorating in Hubbard. See these brighter pinks and even whites coming into Brookfield, and again Vienna, and coming into Hubbard. Getting some heavy rain. Warner Road right now, Chestnut Ridge Road, and up towards Warren Sharon Road as well, Route 82 coming into Brookfield. Very torrential downpours. Also getting some torrential downpours, Sharpsville, Hermitage area, and north and east along 18 in southwestern Mercer County. It's raining at a decent clip over towards Fredonia right now as well. All this is moving. I wish it were moving a little faster, but it is moving. So here's a loop. So conditions are going to continue to deteriorate as this Trumbull County cluster moves towards the state line and into Mercer County, where already we're seeing some storms. Again, the farther south you are, basically from 224 on south, the severe weather risk is pretty low this evening. We're going to get some thunderstorms in Hanoverton and Salem and Lisbon and Columbiana. Some showers and storms will be around. the risk for severe weather appears to be lower in those locations. I'll pop a post onto our Storm Tracker accounts. If you're following me on Facebook and Twitter, thank you as always. Make sure you're also following the rest of our team, including the Storm Tracker 21 accounts on Facebook and on Twitter. And of course, make sure you have the Storm Tracker 21 app downloaded. That is by far the best local app for weather. All right, so again, street and highway flooding and flooding in areas of poor drainage is, at this point, one of our primary concerns. This is still producing some gusty winds as this comes east. We're getting some gusty winds coming into Hubbard right now, moving through Churchill, coming into, again, Vienna, still some torrential rain and occasionally some gusty winds. It's probably getting pretty windy in Brookfield right now as well. Off the Pittsburgh radar, let's look at the wind velocity data. Okay, we're getting these brighter greens, Churchill, Vienna. Yeah, some gusty winds through here coming into Hubbard right now. Again, checking the latest observations at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Our last one was 10 minutes ago. We should get a fresh one here momentarily. It'd be interesting to see what is being reported at the airport right now as far as wind gusts and visibility as well, because the weather is no doubt pretty bad at that location. I'm looking at our Boardman camera here internally, and it's rocking in the wind. Even though we're not getting a lot of torrential rain down here along the 224 corridor, our Boardman camera is shaking in the wind. Let me bring that up real quickly. This is Boardman looking towards Canfield, looking west. 224 Market Street is the intersection here, right by the CVS and Rite Aid, and across from BJ's, across from Five Guys, and of course near the Southern Park Mall. And yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Now this camera is perched on a billboard that's, you know, maybe 40 feet high, 30 feet high. So it's elevated a little bit, but yeah, we're getting some decent wind through there. Even though, again, the worst of this thunderstorm activity is missing that 224 Market Street intersection to the north. But we're getting probably some outflow, some rain-cooled air rushing out from those storms, causing the gusty winds, even though the heaviest of the rain and the gustiest of the winds are up in this area right now, Vienna, and getting set to push out of Niles, still impacting parts of Fowler, parts of Hartford, Cortland on south. Once you get north of Cortland, things improve in a hurry along 7, going through Kinsman, and along 11, going up through parts of Trumbull County and up into Ashtabula County. If you're watching from Southington and Braceville, you're technically still in the severe thunderstorm warning, Newton Falls area, but the severe weather threat is over in western Trumbull County. Pretty much Lordstown on west, your severe weather risk with this cluster of storms is over. Down in Columbiana County, getting a couple of downpours, Lisbon, out towards Guilford Lake and Hanoverton, and out towards Minerva as well along Route 30. Some thunder and lightning, but nothing severe with that at the moment. Our active severe thunderstorm warning runs for another 17 minutes until 7:45 this evening. And this was issued at about 6:45, so it's been ongoing for about 45 minutes at this point. Gusty winds, but overall I would say the big story with this is the lightning and the rain. This is the most intense lightning event that most of our area has seen so far this spring and summer season. It's also some of the heaviest rain that a lot of our area has seen so far this year. All right, the observation at the airport at 7:20 was a wind of 22, visibility of a half a mile. All right, we're going to get a flash flood warning just issued. All right, flash flood warning for Trumbull runs until 12:30 a.m. All right, so let's bring that up graphically. So we've talked about the heavy rain, and sure enough, we've had too much at one time here. So flash flood warning is now out until 12:30 a.m. for a lot of the southern tier of Trumbull County, including a lot of the areas that have been in a severe thunderstorm warning over the last several hours. So Warren, Niles, Wethersfield, Churchill, Hubbard, all those places. Flash flood warning now out until 12:30 a.m. All right, so let's look at our rainfall rates here. Pretty intense rain, that is for sure. These are bona fide tropical downpours. Oops, didn't want to query the road name. Yeah, an inch or two an hour are the rates. Now, the heaviest of the rain in most places is not going to last a full hour because everything is moving at about 35 miles per hour, but it's not moving all that fast, so it's going to rain pretty hard in most locations for a little while. The rain becomes less intense once you're back towards Lordstown and McDonald and Craig Beach and Austintown. But I can hear the rain on our rooftop here in downtown Youngstown and getting a downpour south of 224 now along 7, closer to North Lima. But this is where the lightning show is, up here in Trumbull County. Flash flood warning was just issued a handful of minutes ago by the National Weather Service in Cleveland. If you're watching us on television, you're seeing that rolling across the bottom of the screen right now. That includes most of the area that's been under the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to take off the lightning data here so this looks a little cleaner. Where the arrow is pointing, the polygon here in green, that is where the flood warning is. And I'll actually even just for a moment here take off the radar to show you exactly where this flash flood warning is out for. It's the flashing green area here. So it includes Warren, Niles, Lordstown, Newton Falls, Vienna, Churchill, Hubbard, Brookfield, Hartford, Cortland on south. Once you get north of Cortland, north of Champion, you're not in the flash flood warning. It does not include any locations in Mahoning County. All right, we've gotten some fresh radar estimates here of how much rain has fallen. So this should be pretty good data at this point, and we're going to estimate up to a couple of inches of rain having fallen in parts of Trumbull County, maybe from Niles on north and east through parts of Howland and Vienna as well. Now at the Youngstown Warren Airport, it looks like the total. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a fresh total, an official total at the airport. Looks like there's been over an inch at the airport over the last hour. So we're at 1.13 officially at the airport. Now that is an official observation. This is a radar estimate. So at least an inch, if not up to 2 inches or so, have fallen in parts of the Vienna area, the Niles area, especially north and east of Eastwood Mall in Niles. So that's the reason the flash flood warning was hoisted. Lots and lots of rain. Too much at one time. Too much of a good thing. You know, again, I mentioned this a few moments ago, but I know a lot of people hop in and out of the live stream. I've heard from a lot of farmers and gardeners in recent days, hey, you know, with this hot weather, we could use some rain. It's getting kind of dry. No, we're getting some rain. It's just too much at one time. That's a problem a lot of times in the summer. You get too much of a good thing, and so therefore, flash flooding is a concern. If you look at this, this is kind of interesting. If you look at this skinny line moving southeast on the radar, that's what we call an outflow boundary. That's rain-cooled air rushing out of storms like a mini cold front. And sometimes the radar can pick up on those outflow boundaries, and sometimes those outflow boundaries will create new thunderstorms. We've been seeing that all day. In fact, a lot of our activity right now is the result of outflow boundaries created by storms that were up over Lake Erie in I-90 for a time this afternoon. Those outflow boundaries, little cold fronts, tapped into the really humid and hot air and created new thunderstorms. And we're seeing that right now down in Columbiana County, just over the last couple of minutes. New thunderstorms popping up near Lisbon. So we're getting a hard downpour now and some vivid thunder and lightning right over Lisbon, heading up towards New Middletown as well. And so you're seeing this outflow boundary creating new storms as it comes to the east. Interesting to watch that on the radar. These are mini cold fronts. Rain-cooled air rushes out of a thunderstorm, hits the ground, and spreads out. That air is much cooler than the surrounding air, which is still well up into the 80s. But that rain-cooled air might be as cool as the 60s coming out of storms. And these little cold fronts then lift that much more humid and warm and buoyant air. That lifting creates clouds and precipitation, and where the lifting occurs quickly, you can get very quickly a thunderstorm spinning up and quite a bit of lightning and thunder. So we're seeing that now downwind of our original storms. And you see that on the loop as it moves through. These storms are sub-severe for the time being, but we'll keep an eye on what's going on down in Columbiana County, certainly, with new storms popping up, especially right over Lisbon right now. Over in Mercer County, we're getting downpours, no doubt here. Stoneboro, back towards Fredonia, back into South Pymatuning and the Sharon area. And, of course, this has been the doozy of a storm that's been rolling through Trumbull County. All right, let's see if we have any fresh observations from the Youngstown Warren Airport. All right, up to 1.49 inches worth of rain at the airport. 1.49 at the airport. Up over an inch to an inch and a half in just the last hour. Let me tweet that. All right, so an inch and a half at the Youngstown Warren Airport over the last hour, hence the flash flood warning that was issued. And again, just to review that, that's our most recent product issued by the Weather Service. So let me bring that up here. Flash flood warning was issued a few minutes ago for the southern tier of Trumbull County. We've had too much rain at one time. So flash flood warning runs until 12:30 a.m. for areas mostly Cortland on south, Vienna, Warren, into Niles, into Howland, Churchill, Hubbard, Yankee Lake, Hartford. This includes Lordstown and Newton Falls, but the heaviest of the rain has been more from Warren on east. It hasn't been quite as bad as far as the rainfall totals are concerned once you get out into southwestern Trumbull County. In fact, let's look at the radar estimates here. I just queried the eastern part of this, but let's query what the radar is estimated out here. Once you get closer to Newton Falls, the radar estimates are closer to an inch, inch and a half, but that occurred over a somewhat longer period of time, and the rain was not quite as intense. The tropical rains have been more intense out here. The rates have been more impressive, and so we've picked up a lot of rain in a short amount of time. Chris Sarinelli, part of our team here, says wind-blown torrential downpours from the Kirkmere area through the west side of Youngstown. Very intense lightning as well. Our severe thunderstorm warning runs for another 5 minutes. Let's. My suspicion is this goes into Mercer County. The Weather Service in Pittsburgh probably won't continue the warning. This will be a handoff between the Cleveland and Pittsburgh offices once this gets into Mercer County. The Pittsburgh National Weather Service office covers Mercer, Lawrence, and Columbiana counties. in our area, and the severe thunderstorm warning, originally issued for wind, might not be continued as this comes into Mercer. Some strong winds, some gusty winds, severe wind, maybe. Close call. We'll find out in a few minutes if the Weather Service in Pittsburgh decides to continue a severe thunderstorm warning as this storm rolls into Mercer County. Wind has been kind of a secondary concern mostly with this activity. The main concerns have been the rain and the lightning. Very vivid lightning and, of course, very, very torrential rains, hence the flash flood warning that was issued a little while ago for southern parts of Trumbull County. Checking in on Columbiana County real quickly. For the time being, non-severe thunderstorm, but a pretty good downpour and some lightning and thunder right around Lisbon. And edging into the Elk Run area. This is just south of Washingtonville and Latonia and Columbiana, but in those locations, this can drift overhead. So if you're watching from Columbiana, Washingtonville, Latonia, you're probably going to get clipped by this particular downpour that's originated over Lisbon. Down towards the Ohio River in East Liverpool, the outflow boundaries coming through. You might feel a rush of wind, and maybe the air will become a little bit cooler here. Down towards Yellow Creek and Wellsville and East Liverpool and Calcutta. But it looks like for the time being, most thunderstorm activity is trying to miss you to the north, but that outflow boundary might trigger new activity. We'll find out here before too much longer. All right, so we'll stay with you on the live stream here, at least until the severe thunderstorm warning expires. We'll see if that's extended into Mercer County here before too much longer. The wind threat to me seems like a secondary concern mostly to the rain and the lightning. If you're watching this, wondering what's going to happen the rest of the night, once this kind of initial cluster moves through, there's a pretty good lull back towards Cleveland and Akron. This activity is mostly sub-severe back towards Sandusky, Cedar Point area. Occasionally there's been a warning on some of this, but most of this is sub-severe. Certainly some flood warnings still out, flood advisories for parts of north central Ohio because of too much rain, but the severe weather threat looks pretty low out there. So we might have a passing shower or storm overnight tonight, but the true severe weather threat is probably mostly confined to right here and now. All right, Cleveland's going to expire the severe thunderstorm warning for Mahoning and Trumbull. And we'll see if Pittsburgh picks up the baton here and issues for Mercer. My suspicion is probably not. To me, the wind looks mostly sub-severe. It's gusty. Looking at my other source off camera here, and yeah, certainly some gusty winds, probably very borderline severe. So again, we'll hang with you for another couple of minutes here to see if they issue any new severe thunderstorm warnings as this comes into Mercer. At the very least, severe thunderstorm warning or not, this is a doozy of a summertime thunderstorm with very heavy rain, very vivid lightning, and if you do need to go somewhere this evening and you're sitting at your house wondering if you're going to go out or not, if you're going to venture out into this, be very cautious. Never drive through standing water on the roads. You never know how deep it is. In areas, if you've lived around your neighborhood or your community for quite a while and you know where the typical areas that tend to have flooding issues are, stay away from those areas because chances are they have some issues this evening. Poor drainage areas, some of the typical spots. Street and highway flooding, hydroplaning can be a concern when we have this much rain falling from the sky and the drains have a hard time keeping up with it. So what I'm saying is valid for most of Mercer County and most of eastern and southern Trumbull County. Once you're down into Mahoning County, thunderstorms are sub-severe, Mahoning and Columbiana County, but use some caution down in those locations as well. These are more garden variety summertime storms moving through Boardman, Poland, and North Lima, and heading down towards Columbiana and Lisbon. But, you know, there's still lightning and thunder, and that's very dangerous as well. The flooding concerns are most notable around and north of I-80 in Trumbull County, and perhaps before the evening is through in Mercer County as well. So our severe thunderstorm warning is going to expire in 1 minute here. It was originally issued for parts of Mahoning and Trumbull counties. So we're going to wrap up the live stream here in a moment once I make sure that Pittsburgh does not issue any sort of new severe thunderstorm warning. And my suspicion is they probably will not. But of course, I'll be posting frequently on social media here as we go through the next hour or two and this active weather pushes through. Be cautious out there this evening. Take these storms seriously. And stick with us on the Storm Tracker 21 app, on social media, and tonight we'll have a recap and a fresh forecast, of course, on 21 News at 11 p.m. Hope to see you then.